Hello everyone, welcome to Anime No Mi, and thank you for joining us for another One Piece video. In today's video, we're going to take some time to talk about the hero of the Navy, Garp, a character who carries many mysteries of this story because he's participated in many events during the trajectory of our overall story of One Piece. Throughout his life, Garp has hidden many mysteries about himself, from the fact that he's the father of Dragon, that he hid that the great rookie pirate in Supernova Luffy was his grandson, to even some of his involvement in things like God Valley. But Garp's biggest secret would be the fact that while his whole journey has been to allegedly be the hero of the Navy and protect the world's nobles, he is in fact undermining all of them, being the true leader of his son Dragon's organization. And what we're going to do is talk about this possibility in today's video. But before we dive into this speculation, if you're new to the channel, we'd be absolutely honored if you consider leaving us a like or even subscribing with a comment letting us know what you thought of the video. It really motivates us to make more content, and if you'd like to help us out in a bigger way, consider sharing this video or the channel with a friend. But without further ado, let's get into the video. So friends, as we know, Garp is a vice admiral of the Navy, but is also perhaps the father of Dragon, the leader of the Revolutionaries. And in this way, he's also grandfather of Luffy, captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, and one of the greatest pirates in this current generation. Not only that, he's also the adoptive grandfather of Ace, who was the son of the Pirate King Goldie Roger, who was a contemporary of Whitebeard's and one of Whitebeard's most powerful commanders. But being a great sailor and one of the most famous names to this day, and with the power and renown to be a fleet admiral, why didn't Garp keep his grandson by his side? Of course, Ace, as the son of the Pirate King, he couldn't be in the Navy, but Luffy, as Garp's grandson, could. And with his fame, Garp could have even allowed the boy to grow up in his care in the Navy. After all, Garp himself said that Luffy should become a sailor. However, Garp ended up deciding to leave his grandson with didnt, and he asked her to train and educate Luffy. And not being a part of the boy's life, in reality, Garp knew that didnt was the leader of a group considered enemies of the Navy, and Garp could have done all of this just so Luffy didn't actually join the Navy. After all, we know that Luffy grew up with Garp, or maybe even his mother, for some time before being taken to didnt. And we also know that Dragon had already become a leader and founded his group of Revolutionaries before Luffy was born. Furthermore, even though Garp is the hero of the Navy, it seems that he has his own worldwide view and sense of justice. After all, he didn't become an admiral because he wanted to keep his actions as he wished and not under the purview of the Celestial Dragons. Taking that even further, we've seen that the main reason he didn't become an admiral is he doesn't want to have to protect the Celestial Dragons because he doesn't agree with their goals. And the admirals need to be willing and prepared to protect the Celestial Dragons and world nobles at all costs. But even though he didn't believe in the Navy leaders, he still wanted to stay in the organization, even after he retired. After all, we saw after the Great Battle of Marineford, he became a Navy instructor to train new recruits. So he took it upon himself, for example, of Kobe's training, although he still holds the post of Vice Admiral. Notably, Garp has been offered the Admiral position several times over the course of his career, but every time he turned down the promotion, all because he said he didn't agree with the world nobles and didn't want to protect them. And even though Ace was the son of his most formidable rival, the man known as the King of the Pirates, Garp readily hid his son and protected him. Although Garp was hesitant at first, after witnessing Ace's mother's noble sacrifice, he fulfilled his rival's wish and adopted Ace as his own grandson because he wanted to see him treated the same way as Luffy, and also felt that the son should not inherit the sins of their father. And though Ace might have just looked at Garp as a guardian, he insisted that Ace was his grandson and that he was his grandfather. And aside from that, when Ace was on the execution platform, he still sat next to him, talking to him and giving him moral support prior to his execution. And though Garp appears to be loyal to the Navy and has shown that he wants his grandchildren to join him, he's also chosen his duty over his family. And even though he suffered when he saw something happen to his family, we also saw that he wanted to destroy Akainu for what he did to Ace. And if we look at how Garp wanted his grandchildren to become Marines, he ended up entrusting their care to a woman named didnt who was against everything that Garp worked for. So it seems that there may have been something else to it, because we also know that she's a friend of Garp's and became the adoptive mother and Ace and later Luffy. Now didnt lives on Mount Kolobo near Fuchsia Village, and she is the leader of a group known as the Mountain Bandits of the Didnt family, and she is a highly wanted criminal in that area of the East Blue. Didnt was first mentioned in the arc after Enies Lobby when the the mayor read about the story of Luffy and the Straw Hats waging a battle against the entire world government. But getting back to Garp, in terms of combat, he's had several decades of experience in combat and navigating some of the most terrifying seas in the world of One Piece, including the New World. Also being the hero of the Navy, he is known to have faced the Pirate King several times on equal terms. And even the Pirate King himself stated that when he and Garp fought, they nearly destroyed each other on several occasions. So it's possible to deduce that he had an amazing strength in his youth, managing to equalize his combat against this greatest of pirates. As another true testament of his sheer power, Garp defeated and nearly took the life of Don Shinjao in the past, whose bounty at the time was worth 550 million. Plus, when it was at his peak, it was said that this opponent would be able to split a continent with just his head. Aside from his physical prowess, Garp has also demonstrated amazing leadership skills, and being a vice admiral of the Navy and in command of the 153rd branch of the Navy, he's been able to give orders to sailors who are in positions below him. Garp's power and fame is also evident from the events of the Ed War, in which Shiki the Golden Lion had reported that his great rival, the future king of the pirates, possessed knowledge of an ancient weapon. Assembling his fleet, he met Roger on the seas of the New World and offered him a position as his right-hand man, claiming that with his fleet strength and Roger's weapon, they could take over the world. But as we know, the king of the pirates replied to the Golden Lion that he didn't want to conquer anything, because without freedom, there would be no point of calling himself a pirate, so he refused the offer from Shiki. Of course, Shiki then asks his opponent if he wanted to lose his life in that place, and Roger said that he would bring them down, and that's how Roger ended up firing his ship's cannon into one of the Golden Lion pirates' ships, starting the battle. Now, although the Pirate King only had one ship, he managed to make it an amazing and excellent fight against his enemies, and in the middle of their battle, a sudden hurricane hit the area, destroying half of Shiki's fleet and giving Shiki the downside of that fight. And after that, Shiki somehow ended up with a steering wheel stuck in his head and was forced to retreat, and despite that, he still ended up respecting Roger. Aside from earning the respect of his enemies, Garp also earns the respect and admiration of his peers and his subordinates, because one of his subordinates at the time was Kuzan, who was later promoted to admiral, and he had commented on how cool Garp was for turning down such an irresistible promotion. So Garp claims that he doesn't need a higher position, and that it would really cut back on his freedom to do what he wants. Just consider the fact that when it was revealed worldwide that Luffy was Garp's grandson, Luffy's fame grew even more based on just the fact that he was the grandson of the hero of the Navy, because of all of the past deeds that made him both a feared and respected character among the seas. Garp's respect and world renown really comes down to the fact that Garp is one of the most powerful fighters that we've seen in the series so far. And although he's no longer at his peak, Garp still possesses an extremely high amount of physical strength. We've seen that he's able to throw iron cannonballs like baseballs faster at cannon speed, and is also able to break through brick walls and cannons with just his fists. With Garp's monstrous punching ability at his disposal, he's been able to take out many people, claiming that he crushed 8 mountains during his training just to face Don Shinjao. In addition to his legendary strength, he also has amazing durability and pain tolerance, as seen when he was cut by Captain Morgan's hand axe. And he actually didn't show any pain, and because this was due to the fact that he fell asleep before realizing that he was even being attacked. Garp was also able to get back on his feet after being punched by Luffy in Gear 2nd at close range, without losing consciousness. Now we have to remember that this punch was really only possible because Garp allowed Luffy to hit him, but even then, he was still able to get up and fight Blackbeard's pirates along with Sengoku. On top of his physical strength, it's also evident that he's a possessor and master of Haki, as it's confirmed that all Vice Admirals possess Haki powers. And with this Haki mastery, with his armament Haki, Garp was able to injure Luffy multiple times, ignoring his rubber body. And during the Battle of Marineford, he was able to punch and injure Marco despite being in his Phoenix form. We also saw in a flashback that he was able to crush Don Shinjao's head with a punch imbued with Haki 30 years before the series ever began. But with all that said, we still have to come back to our original question. With all this enormous power and freedom as one of the leaders of the Navy, why didn't he take care of Luffy on his own? Or even Ace for that matter? Even though the two could be considered great threats to the Navy and the world, Garp still had a huge influence on the Navy, which leads us to think that Garp wasn't hiding the two of them just to protect them, but rather because he had a plan in mind. Because if they'd become sailors like him, the Navy and the world government would at some point have figured out who their parents were. I mean, just consider the fact that Ace had already been wanted before he had been born. But still, he ended up leaving them with Didnt, and Garp did so even though he knew that Didnt's way of life went against everything he was supposed to believe as a vice admiral in the Navy. And Garp didn't do this because he didn't love these children. He did it because he loved them, and he loves his family. I mean, just think about when we saw where Ace was about to lose his life and seeing seeing Akainu's attack hitting Ace. The amount of fury you see bring about in Garp would have just led to incredible amounts of destruction, and had it not been for Sengoku's intervention, Garp would have probably torn Akainu limb from limb right there. And though he's loyal to the Navy, Garp could have had a lot of involvement with the Revolutionaries, and after all, since his son is the leader of the organization, Garp for some reason has kept it a secret for many years and only revealed it when Luffy became famous. Now, we don't know what the real relationship between Garp and Dragon is, but apparently Garp knows a little bit about what Dragon has been up to, and if Dragon and Garp were planning something that directly involved Luffy and Ace, leaving them with other people would avoid calling it to attention, so that in the future, this plan could finally come into motion. But let's also not forget the fact that Garp garners the love and respect from all those around him. I mean, we have the King of the Pirates on his side, we also have his son who was maybe even in the Navy before he became a revolutionary. And in all of these cases, even Don Shinjao, everyone, although may hating Garp, still respected him. And seeing that we saw scenes how he was there at the end of Roger's life, all of this may have been influenced directly by Garp himself. But this also brings us to another question. Just as we know that Dragon was Luffy's father, we still haven't seen anything about Luffy's mother, so it makes us wonder, does Garp have any knowledge about who she was? After all, in some of the few scenes where we've seen dragons, it's possible to see a mysterious woman always in the back, kind of shadow, but we don't know if she has any involvement or if this is even Luffy's mother. There's even a possibility that she may in fact be the daughter of Garp, and because Dragon ended up with her, he was then adopted by Garp. And we could have also seen where she maybe passed messages between Garp and Dragon, and this would keep her real identity a secret so the Navy doesn't discover who she is. Because without an informant, or at least some third party, it would be really difficult for Garp to secretly meet with his son, as Garp is extremely famous and pretty busy, so a meeting between them, even in a remote location, would be almost impossible. On top of that, all of this would also answer why Dragon always seems to be one step ahead of the Navy, and in this way, all of Luffy's family, except for the Straw Hat Boy himself, would be linked to the Revolutionary Army. With all that to consider, friends, I'd love to know what you think about it. What was the reason that Garp let Ace and Luffy be taken care of by didnt? Do you think Luffy's mother is still alive and working alongside Dragon, or is being protected by him and Garp? Or maybe even one of those other theories that's out there in the community about her being a celestial dragon? Leave your opinion in the comments below. So as we conclude for the day, I want to thank you all so much for watching the video to the very end. Make sure you comment on any themes or ideas that you'd like to see in future videos. And also, since you've made it this far, give us a like as you head out to take on the rest of your day. Hope to see you all on our next video. Let's keep sailing this giant sea together. Take care.